Hello, TaShanna, and welcome to your chart reading. This is going to be an in-depth breakdown of everything that's going on here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but that includes everything right here and all this little stuff right here. So let's get started. I'm going to go over here first. This is where your birth info is. The style of the chart is Placidus. I totally said that wrong. With your sun in Aries and your ascendant in Virgo. Um, this means that you have a strong amount of cardinal energy, as you can see right here. There's some fixed, but definitely a mass of you having this cardinal energy of getting things done. That is what cardinal energy is about. It's the starter, the initiator, the original thinker. So excuse that. What we're going to do now is start at the ascendant, the beginning of your chart, and work our way around and just sort of explain how everything connects. So you have your first house and your ascendant in the sign of Virgo. What does this typically mean? This typically means that you are sort of seen by the world as someone, or because the ascendant is your mask and the road that you came to take. Virgo is all about healing others, being of service, but also sort of a perfectionist, somebody who organizes other people's lives. And this is especially accentuated because you have your ascendant in Virgo at 0 degrees. So what does 0 degrees means? Typically, we notice with people who have 0 degrees in Virgo, they're friendly, orderly, they enjoy entertainment, a good time, popular by nature with a desire for luxury and a very, I guess, popular, very posh, a very socialite type social life. But this could lead to some concern about the way that the person looks or the way you look or anything like that. You're supposed to beware of overeating and drinking. And these habits are supposedly things that began back during childhood, especially in regards to your look and the idea that your parents put these things on you as far as social standing and social requirements. This is squared, and squares are lessons by your moon, which you see is up here in your 10th house. This means that all those lovely Virgo qualities about you are sort of blocked, or you're having a difficult time cultivating them because of your moon in Gemini. What does that mean? That means that the way that you express your feelings in your career and in your life and your reputation, and as far as people who know you, gets you sort of a bad rep at times. Because of this energy, who you are and your desire to naturally help people conflicts sometimes with your words and how they're received by other people. It is also square your Uranus. So where is Uranus on here? Uranus is in your 4th house. So that means the change that was meant to happen with your family. There was some difficulty in that, or you breaking away from traditions, because I see that you have your 4th house in Scorpio here, which means that your life may have started off a bit of a seedier nature. When you have somebody who has a 4th house in Scorpio, what you typically notice is they have a darker childhood. Like you may have to deal with some control issues, maybe some poverty, even abuse in some cases. But with you having Uranus, at 29 degrees, it's a critical degree. This means that was always meant to radically change for you into opportunities for more peace, even traveling and just enjoying philosophy and optimism in your life, which is a totally different sort of energy away from what you started with in childhood. The last aspect you have to this Virgo ascendant is trying your Neptune. And your Neptune is right here in the 4th house. This means when you sort of started, or I don't know if you already have, when you start stepping into the energy of you being this optimistic person at home, you start learning more at home, stretching outside of everything that you originally learned in your life, there is going to be a karmic reward, which leads to your purpose, your North Node, which is in the 12th house. So let's move on to the 2nd house. The 2nd house right here starts in Virgo at 25 degrees. This 2nd house is all about how you earn your belongings, the things you value, the things you find beautiful, and how you bring your energy from up out of the sky pretty much down to this reality, into currency, into money. So with Virgo in 25 degrees, you are smart and aggressive. Your money can be achieved sometimes by force, but mostly intelligence. Because of this, you will have numerous enemies. And the more success you have, the more hated, I guess that's the best way to say it, the more hated you will be. The rise to power leads to a certain loneliness, a certain unhappiness. But it deeply feels, based upon a lot of these things I've seen in your chart, that you were set with a certain childhood that made you want to thrive for more, pretty much. The next thing I noticed that you have in your second house, because this is big for you, this is definitely signs that you came to make some money in this life. You have Jupiter. That's this one right here. Jupiter at 3 degrees. And this is kindness that may attract some shady people to you, or times that you're so kind that you let opportunities pass you by. Learn from that mistake quickly. The quicker you learn that people may be trash to you, or that they may take advantage of your kindness, the less this lesson keeps popping up for you. And that's your Libra Jupiter at 3 degrees. It's actually sextile, which means that it's working with your Saturn. So let's find where your Saturn is. Oh, right next to it. So it's working with this Saturn energy. That means that it's working towards your career house. The energy of restriction in this life is working with you in order to give you the expansion of Jupiter in your financial houses. This means that the more you work into balance and that energy of being intelligent and focused, like I just mentioned, things will multiply for you. But there's also Pluto here as well. So let's see what that says. It's square your Neptune. So that means there's a lot going on here, right? So your Libra Saturn, which is the restrictor planet that pulls everything together for you to work, is in your second house, which means in the beginning of life, typically until after 30, there was some hold or some pause on your money. That's because you weren't sure, because this Neptune that is working with that energy, Neptune sort of puts a fog over things, clouded what your original mission was supposed to be until after 30 roughly, or around that time. That's what the sextile energy does. Squaring Neptune, that means that there's a blockage here, something that's giving it a difficulty in this restriction, I guess because you had to wait till after you were 30. But also it is trying your MC. So that means it is working with your midheaven. And your midheaven is what your idea of heaven on earth would be in this life. And trying means that they are working together. So in this case, it means this planet right here of luck and expansion is working with you to reach your higher goals in life. Next, we have your Saturn, which is at 5 degrees. This creates a character that is honest and persevering, but life does get better in the second half. You may even become a corporate partner if you're into that sort of thing and have a private business, or you can end up marrying the boss's child with this sort of thing going on. This is also sextile Uranus, which is over here. So this is working with the energy of you changing your life. This restriction that was on you till you were 30 was working with you in order for you to make big change after that happened. But it's also sextile, or working with your North Node in the 12th house, which means that there is something that you are meant to create karmically. And we'll get more into that later. But also it is also trine the midheaven. That means that even this restriction until you were 30 was meant to hold you in place for you to achieve this career mission of you being somebody who is a talker, communicator, thinker, speaker, but also somebody who enjoys art and peace and all that sort of thing, because you have two different signs on the cusp of your 10th house. The last thing that you have in the second house here is Pluto at 23 degrees, actually. What does this signify? The ability to wisely run any private company or a high public position. Bank jobs will be great for you, or things with money as well. Beware of the envy that comes with success. And this is the second planet or aspect that you have that is telling you that as well. So there are many issues, like the more money, the more problems comes along with this. So what you have now is Pluto, which is your planet of transformation and change, opposing your sun. So that means any relationship you get in will change your identity, especially through intense sexual relationships. It's opposing your Venus, which means that transformation that is going to occur in your relationships, once again, is going to change the way you make money and the way you view money and the way that you view how you are independent as well. It is also sextile, or working with Neptune right here. So this transformation was going to always help you start to move towards the place that you needed to family-wise, and whatever you're doing at home, just in your own peace on a regular basis. This leads to your third house cusp. Now, the third house is all about younger siblings, your neighbors, the place you went to school, the neighborhood you grew up, just everybody in your local area and the things you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and also short trips. With you having this in the sign of Libra, communication, that's a big one. It's ruled by Gemini. How could I ever forget? Communication, talking, teaching, writing, speaking to people. It's all governed by this house. Now, I see it starts off with Libra, which means that earlier in life you may have had some difficulty with maintaining your opinion, or being indecisive, or sort of wanting to work with other people, or even sometimes just straight up wanted to be alone so that you didn't have to be so agreeable. It appears that over some time that changed to this Scorpio energy. More of, you don't talk to people as much. You might be more mysterious or not have as much to say with this Scorpio energy here. Now, the cusp, which is how it began, started in the 24 degrees. This means that you will achieve some success due to a great mentor. It could even be possibly due to your sex appeal or your good looks, but I'm going to lean towards a great mentor because you have so many other things here that indicates that somebody else might have come along and helped you or pushed you in some way, shape, or form because of the way that your chart is set up here. This leads to your IC. You see that right here? This is who you are when nobody else is around. So this makes you a very private person. This can be very, you're very controlled, very serious about your things, very inquisitive. You're also a natural lie detector, sort of a psychologist, a counselor even at heart. So this is at the cusp of your fourth house, Scorpio and 27 degrees. This means anything in life that was ever acquired by stolen means will be lost or stolen. Violence, dishonesty, or accidents may be an issue at home. And this goes back to what I was saying about the beginning of your childhood appearing to start off a little bit rough. But there's this major planet here, Uranus at 29 degrees, which signifies success in science, literature, architecture, or economics, meaning that your life was going to change from that to something great, something way more light and optimistic once probably you went to school because of this, because this degree is about learning something. You also have in here Neptune in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, I was explaining that the planet Neptune sort of clouds things over for you, so you don't really know what this career is for you to later, but it's also sort of a karmic gift when you realize how to release that energy. And with you having this Neptune at Sagittarius in 24 degrees, difficulty fighting your own weaknesses, a bit of a deep relationship with materialism. Be careful with burning out and be careful with your eyes because of this placement. It is also trine, working with your sun in the 8th house. It is square your Mercury, which means there is a block between that and how you express yourself. It seems like work might hold you back a lot from saying what you need to say. But also it's trying Venus and Mars. So that means it's working with your ability to make money and your passion. This ability to, because this is professor energy as well, spiritual guru, traveler, this energy that you have at home that makes you sort of explore. That's the word I'm looking for. Helps you earn more money, helps you find more passion in the area of gaining money from other people, or real estate, or taxes, or anything dealing with money. It is also square your Jupiter in your second house, which means, of course, like we said, there was a blockage there until after 30. Lots of things holding you back from success until you handled your family karma. Sextile Pluto means it is working with this big transformation. Once that big transformation happened for you, that was going to be great. And allow the energy of Jupiter to expand because it is trying your ascendant. What does that mean when it's trying your ascendant? It means this job helps you step fully into the path of self, the one you came to take as Virgo. So this leads to the 5th house cusp, which is in Capricorn. The 5th house is all about creativity, children, self-expression, flings, sex, one-on-one relationships, entertainment. Anything that you do that is uniquely you, that's sort of your way of creating. And with you having this in Capricorn, this makes you a business owner or somebody with a business mind who naturally just understands money, the way entrepreneurship works, or just working with the energy of things that would further your family's legacy with this sort of energy going on here. Now, having Capricorn in 0 degrees means you were gifted as a form of creativity, great intuitive abilities, and great empathic abilities. You are really good at feeling what other people feel just naturally. And if you don't know how to control it, oh, bless your heart, because I know that's rough. You have much success in diplomatic jobs. You can do well in film or even managing during human resources. You're also the type of person who will be really good at doing 2 jobs at once with this Capricorn energy in this 5th. This leads to your 6th house. Your 6th house is typically ruled by Virgo, which is your chart ruler, the owner of all of this, the path of the healer, the path of the person being of service to the world. So with this 6th house of health, fitness, nutrition, pets, your day-to-day life, your coworkers, and everything that it requires to keep these bodies functioning on a regular basis. You have the sign of Aquarius, which means that you do not like a regular routine. You like to switch it up. You don't like to do the same thing every day. But because it's in 1 degree, you have been gifted with a brilliant, happy character. You would once again be really good in science, or you would be amazing at design, and you might discover things that have not been seen before, maybe even architecture. Because of this, you have an attraction to arts or water sports, and you have numerous short-lived romances because of this. You have your DC, which is your descendant, which is the opposite of you. The shadow side of you is in the sign of Pisces. What does that mean for you? You may be attracted to people who are poets, dreamers, addicts, singers, musicians, that sort of thing. But to be more specific, because you have it in 0 degrees, you are easily adjustable to work better in relationships. And this also backs up the fact, because the 7th house is in control of marriages. Any relationship that requires a contract, even if it's like multiple people, this is also the public eye, the masses. With you having your Pisces at 0 degrees, this could give you success in business or arts. And also it connects you to important people who will help you further your job goals with this going on here. This leads to your 8th house, where things get really busy because you have a lot of planets here. The 8th house is all about life-changing sex, like intimate relationships, things that make you transform yourself, death and rebirth, like the internal deaths and rebirths, but also more mundane things like taxes, real estate, stock market, inheritances, debt, not so much loss, but debt, death, all that sort of stuff is where you like sort of reign supreme in this life. So let's start with the cusp of that house, shall we? With the Pisces at 25 degrees, you are gifted with a very, very vivid imagination, but also some literary talents. I don't know if you know about those. You might want to check that out. Success comes from your education. You would also do well with law or publishing. Your intelligence overcomes any tendency you might have to sort of not jump out there, so to speak. Any of your fire that may have been washed out, which I can't imagine how your fire will be washed out with all these Aries, is meant to be replaced. Your mind is your weapon. And that probably leads back to that 0 degrees moon in Gemini. It's those words in that mind that get you in trouble. So let's get into this 29 degrees Mercury. Now, Mercury is the planet of how you think, speak, talk. With you having that in Pisces, you are very intuitive. You're very connected to the way people feel, but also that's your throat chakra. That means that the things that come through you that are beyond you come through your mouth. You speak prophecy if you choose to. Neptune is currently transiting this area right now, so that gift might come back into effect if it has not already been something that's there. With this Mercury at 29 degrees, working with the energy of your moon and your job, working against your money, and it's working with your restriction that was in line. Your mouth has been connected to all of these things, working with radical change, working against any illusions you have, and working with your main goals in life. This Mercury at 29 degrees is about being intuitive, but occasionally selfish. You have very sharp intelligence, but be careful making other people feel alienated with your intelligence. This means you're smart. There's nothing you can do about it, but just try to be mindful that other people might not be blessed. It feels like education really made a difference here. Like it changed your life a lot. For varying reasons with this going on here. Now this leads next to the Mars that you have conjuncted. This means these energies are working together. Anytime you see planets that are right here next to each other, they are working together for the higher good of self. So with you having that Aries Mars at 16 degrees, this means that you enjoy simple solitude, meditation, time alone, learning to understand yourself, helping the underdog. You are kept in high self-esteem by others because of your intelligence, but you prefer a quiet life, even though you might be pushed into public success because of this. This is working with the energy of your Neptune. So that means when you step into that exploring, whatever you're exploring at home, that's going to pop up for you. Maybe that push that it just mentioned. But But also you have your sun here in 17 degrees. Your sun in 17 degrees means that there is a female figure who plays a big part in enhancing your success. And you have a sort of good rapport amongst your family and friends, the people who actually love you. You know, the ones that count, not the ones that you have to discard along the way, because I see there are some people you definitely had to discard in your family along the way. But you having the sun here working with your Neptune means when you step into that energy of moving away from the shadows of your family in the beginning, things were going to start to move in the direction of the independence that you have always been seeking for yourself. Opposing Pluto means your independence was working against this partnership that you were in, but that was always meant to help you um, for your transformation. It feels like some of this might have to do with inheritance or what's that thing you get paid? Alimony, divorce money, settlement money, because settlements and all that sort of stuff are covered by this as well. But because of the fact that you have a relationship that was supposed to transform your life and transform your money here, I would think maybe possibly you got divorced. You also have Venus here. Venus at 18 degrees. This is how you earn your money. This is what you find beautiful. These are your values. For you, this gives you a tendency towards stinginess or being materially focused. Prefer solitude. This could also give you the path of possibly ending up estranged from your family. This warns you against hoarding. Enjoy your wealth. Have a good time. Go places. Do things. Don't just stockpile it or you'll lose it through, very specifically, a natural disaster, war during the revolution, or a robbery. That is what Neptune wants you to know, because Neptune is working with that. So I think that had to do something with travel too. Definitely spend your money is what that is saying. So let's get to this ninth house. The ninth house is all about exploring, expanding. This is about your belief system. Everything outside of everything you learned as a child: foreign lands, foreign food, foreign cultures, foreign languages, philosophy, um, philosophers, teachers in higher universities, education like college, like professors. All that sort of stuff is a part of the ninth house and that Sagittarius energy. With you having your cusp at Aries at 24 degrees, you have an ability to fight against all your opponents. Um, but don't win a fight just because you can. You have to let other people have their ideas as well. And I see that this is where your Chiron is in 16 degrees. This means you were sort of stubborn, and that's your wound. Your Chiron is your wound that happened to you during childhood that you carry forever, but you're supposed to sort of transmute that into something that helps people. And yours is being stubborn and sticking persistently to goals that might be too high. Um, Setting your bar up really high and not remembering that you're a human, even though you want to achieve so much in this life, is sort of your Achilles heel, so to speak. This leads us to, like, what is the best part? The midheaven, the part between here and earth. What is the greatest peak for you? And with you having that midheaven at Taurus at 27 degrees, take the time to learn a skill in order to achieve success, or else you'll meet failure. Don't take blessings for granted. This just pretty much told you what you came to do in this life was to come here, learn something, become successful with it, and spend your money and enjoy yourself. After you overcome some pretty difficult odds, I suppose would be the thing to say. Now, right next to that is your Gemini moon at 0 degrees. This Gemini moon gives you the characteristics of the mother, because the moon is about the mom, your relationship with your mom. This would typically mean that you had an intellectual relationship, or something about your time with her made you have to be more intellectual. This could also mean your inspiration, things that inspire you, reading, talking, listening to people speak, having conversations as well. Just learning in general is something that really stands out for you. But this also makes you observant, patient. If you have siblings, you would be really good with them. But also it gives you the possibility of being a twin or having twins. But for the most part, you attract some pretty good people and some pretty good protectors, people who look out for you, who sort of stand for you, so to speak. Now, this Gemini moon here is sextile, which means it's working with your Mercury. So that means, hey, your feelings and your words actually do get you through what you need to do. Are you a litigator or anything like that? This feels like you're feisty because of this. It's trying your Saturn, so it was working with that restriction, and the Jupiter as well, but opposing your Uranus. So that means your feelings Your relationship with your mother is what made it hard for you to have this radical change in your family life, this radical change of your home, your roots, and your foundation and who you are at the core. This leads to your 11th house. The 11th house is all about how we connect to others. And what I mean by that, that's the religions you're into, the groups that you participate in, the groups of friends, the causes, the organizations, but also just the collective, everybody out there sort of on earth. And with you having this in Cancer, this typically means that you have women friends, or you attract women friends. This could also mean you attract needy friends, but also that you're somebody who's really into causes that help females. This is compounded by the fact that you have Cancer at 0 degrees, which means you're generous but moody. Your family ties are strong. Maybe you have a very prominent family, but they may distract you from your personal goals. Your family might dissuade you from doing things that you want to do. And I find this funny because look, it says, may marry, and this is my notes, may marry or start family late in life due to career goals, parents or siblings to care for. And you choose work over home because of this. And that makes so much sense with the rest of your chart here. Please tell me if you really did start moving towards your new career after 30, because you had so many indicators here that you were purposely slowed down in order to play out past life karma that had to do with, I guess, females in your family line. There's something distinct going on here. And that's actually the last thing in this chart we have to get to, the 12th house. The 12th house is about self-undoing, things that we can do to destroy ourselves, unconscious traits, karma, mental illness, solitude. This is the last house where everything pretty much goes to be handled. And you have your North Node, which is the hand of fate, purpose, the whole reason you were born this time, in this house in the sign of Leo. So let's look at the cusp first. You have your 12th house cusp with Leo at 1st degree. This makes you indecisive in the beginning of life, but you have the ability to work your way up to world travel and use your intelligence as an instrument to be successful. Be careful by the water or by the sea for that reason. Have you had any incidents with that as well? This North Node for you means with it at 8 degrees, that you might deal with some materialism. Your family set a very high standard for you, especially to put special attention towards your appearance. There will be lots of money spent on luxury, maybe some things inherited or earned, but you will enjoy happiness amongst your tribe. And this is what you were owed karmically, what you came to do in this life, although it started off in that energy of having randomness on a regular day-to-day basis with your South Node in the 6th house. You trying to feel like you were in tumble dry in the beginning of life might have been a possibility with this sort of energy going on here. But thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope that gave you a deeper look for what you were set up with in the beginning and what you can expand upon and move into in the future. Thank you so much for this opportunity.